Hi guys, this is your another Star Wars The Vintage Collection action figure review. Taking a look at the most recent wave, Wave 3's Star Wars from Solo, a Star Wars story, the Range Trooper. We've had 3 3/4 inch Range Troopers before in the 5 POA line. This is the first time getting a super articulated 3 3/4 inch one. We also had a 6-inch Black Series one, which I do have, and I will compare with this one. I just happened to just stumble upon the newest wave of these figures at an EB Games. Range Trooper is one I wanted the most from that wave. And we'll take a look at him here. So here's in the packaging. I really like the packaging. Well, obviously it's Vintage Collection packaging, but instead of using a still from the movie, it uses a nice sort of like promo art shot or something like that, which looks really good. I really like this card back image. It looks fantastic. You got the figure in the bubble there, Range Trooper, Solo. You got the other figures in the wave. I've already viewed Enfys Nest. And I've reviewed Dr. Aphra because I got her loose as part of the SDCC 3-pack. And there's not much else to go on about for the packaging, so I'm going to crack them open and we'll take a closer look. Alright, now I have the figure out of the packaging, and this is a pretty cool figure. There's a lot of good stuff going on with this guy. As far as I know, it's a completely new mold. I don't think it reuses any parts from the 5POA figure. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's brand new. Let's take a look at it. It's a pretty bulky figure. Because of the design and the armor and whatnot. It's a very chunky figure, which is pretty cool. Head sculpt or helmet sculpt rather, looks really good. The gold visor looks nice. You got some black paint apps, and you'll see all throughout the figure he's quite weathered up. My camera doesn't pick it up the greatest, because I also don't have the greatest lighting, but he's got a nice sort of brownish wash all throughout the figure. He's got a plastic fur collar thing on his shoulders, which is a decently pliable plastic that's attached at the back, so it doesn't hinder too much movement. You've got the torso armor here with some nice paint apps which are very cleanly applied. And then the clothing, the coat is really weathered, which looks really good. You can just see it's really weathered, actually more weathered than the Black Series one, which is pretty crazy. And he's got like the forearm pieces, and you got the hands here. The right hand is sculpted the trigger finger. You got the big pouches on the belt there. You got the plastic, I guess, skirt or whatever, or kama. And it's a pliable material, and you got like sculpted like fur or whatever on the inside of it, which is pretty cool. And you all see the armor on the inside there, as well as the big magnetic grip boots, which is really cool. Got some nice sculpted work there and some decent paint apps for what's there. So that's really cool. 2 peg holes above the feet, and overall it's a really good looking figure, that's for sure. You won't hear me bashing that. Just trying to get the hip joints kind of aligned here. They're kind of screwed up from right out of the packaging. There. And in terms of articulation, speaking of the hip joints, it's pretty well articulated. You got a ball joint in the head. Rotation actually isn't hindered at all by the plastic here, which is really cool. And you can look up and down just a little bit. Ball hinges of the shoulders move very well. Ball hinges of the elbows, which move a bit past 90 degrees, is really cool. This hinges up and down and rotates, and this hinges in and out, which is great. I always like that. You got to swivel the waist. It might be a ball joint, but you have like no up and down motion, so it's just this rotation. You do have the standard 3 3/4 inch Star Wars ball hinges at the hips, so you can move them in and out. And you have that swivel at the thigh. Then you got a single hinge at the knee here, which I think might actually bend more than the Black Series. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it might bend just a little more. And you have ball hinges at the ankles, which can actually rotate because these are a bit more pliable plastic. And they don't really go up, but they definitely go down quite a bit. No pivot, unfortunately. But overall, pretty well articulated figure. I can't complain. In terms of accessory, just comes with one accessory, which is his blaster rifle. Funnily enough, this guy's blaster rifle is actually more accurate to the movie than the Black Series one. The Black Series one has no paint. It's just black, and it doesn't have like the extended thing here. It's not like super inaccurate. The Black Series one isn't super inaccurate, but this one looks more accurate and looks better. It's molded in white. You got black paint apps as well as some red paint apps, which look really cool. He holds it in his right hand really well. You can just loop that on the trigger finger. get the one-handed pose going pretty good, and you have to play around with it enough. It's a bit tricky to get a aiming pose because of the bulkiness of the character, obviously. But if you don't have to work too hard, and you get a pretty good aiming pose, I have to say. Honestly, you might be able to get just a slightly better aiming pose with this figure than you can with the Black Series one, which is pretty nutty, if I have to say. So that looks really cool. I like that. Looks really cool. Speaking of the Black Series one, I'll do a little comparison. So this is the Vintage Collection one. And here is the Black Series one, which I still really like. I like the soft goods fur here. I think that looks really good. The painting and all that's still pretty good on this Black Series figure, and the articulation's still decent for the bulk of it. And there's a bit more detail, self-detail, obviously, but they're not too far off from each other. This one's still really well detailed. I think you even have some better arm articulation on this new Vintage Collection one. The weathering is much better on this Vintage Collection one as well. So, I mean, overall, I think the Range Trooper from the Vintage Collection is a really solid figure. If you're a fan of Solo, you're collecting the 3 3/4 inch figures, and definitely if you're a Trooper fan, you're definitely going to want to pick up this figure. I think it's a really solid one. It's probably one of the better ones from the new Vintage Collection so far. And actually, out of the new figures, like the actual new molds, I don't own a bunch of them, but out of the new molds from the Vintage Collection that I do have, I have to say this one's probably my favorite. Anyways, that's about all I got for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and may the Force be with you.